So folks who are rolling in, we're really glad you're here. My name's Michelle. I'm the program director here at the National Cathedral. I'm here with Leonard Hamlin, who's our Canon Missioner, who's going to be our lead for tonight, with our special guest, Quinn Cook, who is on his way in. So we're just going to take a quick minute to let you all know how we are going to ask you to participate tonight. The first thing that y'all need to know is that at the bottom of your screen, there are a couple of icons. There's a chat icon, and if you click that, it looks like a single thought bubble. It'll open up a window where you can send messages to us. At the very bottom, you'll see where you can send something either to the panelists, or it's a drop down, and if you click that, you can send to panelists and attendees, which is everybody else who's in here. So you can chat with each other. Caitlin Toner, who is one of our support folks tonight, is going to be dropping some questions into the that chat function so that you all can engage with each other as well as we're thinking, as we're talking with Quinn Cook later in just a few minutes. The other thing to know is that we have a Q&A feature. So if you're in the same place, then we are going to be, if you're in the same place on the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A button, which, well, it has two little thought things. If you open that and type in a question, then I will see it, Leonard will see it, and your fellow participants will also see it. So what'll happen is that you all get a chance to let us know which questions you are most interested in having an answer to or having as part of the conversation tonight. So if we've got a couple of people who are willing to drop some questions in there right away, then y'all will get to see how that works. So Leonard, how are we doing? Are we close here?
We are very close in the moment right now. He is working on his link.
Great.
And just inquiring about it. So he is working on that on the other end, as with most technology.
Wonderful. So this is a great time for folks to be thinking about what kind of questions you all have. Leonard, what are you excited about talking with Mr. Quinn Cook about?
Well, he's coming in now and popping up on the screen.
Great.
In this.
Fantastic. Well, I'm gonna wave goodbye for right now then and let the two of you get started. Quinn, we're so excited that you're here with us. I'm Michelle, and I'm gonna go away and let you and Leonard get started with your conversation.
Oh, pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle. We appreciate it. And this gives me an opportunity on this evening to welcome everyone who is coming into the room, and of course watching us on Facebook Live as well. That I'm excited this evening as the Canon Missioner, on behalf of our Dean as well as our Bishop in the Diocese, and all of my colleagues, to welcome Quinn Cook to this honest to God conversation. Certainly we're thankful to be able to make this connection and have this, what I am really excited about, a rich conversation just about life and all. So let me say first, Quinn, I know you've been busy, but welcome tonight. We're glad to have you.
No problem. My pleasure. This is an unbelievable opportunity. So I'm just thankful to be a part of it.
Well, you know, we've had so many different voices who have participated in this. And you, of course, as a professional athlete and coming in, that we see so many, of course, looking at life. And we have some who the questions are already coming in for you already, that your participation in this allows many to be able to see life and hear life in a very unique way, especially at this time. So, I've got to begin first by just asking you the question, how are you doing? Because many don't know you're on the West Coast, you're trying to get ready. How are you doing personally?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good so far. Just still trying to be as safe and as smart as possible. Still, not fully quarantining, but if I'm not going to the gym or doing something essential, going to the grocery store or anything like that, I'm in the house. I'm social distancing still as much as possible. And for me, being able to get back in our practice facility. The NBA just opened up. You know, some teams, well, I think every team now is open up their practice facility with all, you know, precautions of just being safe. So just going to the facility every other day has been a joy for me. And yeah, I'm doing well. My family's safe. We're all trying to stay as safe and as smart as possible. And it's been a unique time for everyone.
We're glad to hear that. For all of those who have come on the line this evening, and many who are looking forward to hearing you as we welcome you, I want to introduce you appropriately and let some others know, as they know you as an NBA player. But we all know that you're a product really of Prince George's County, Maryland. Growing up in Prince George's County, Maryland, from Prince George's County, Maryland, going to Dematha High School, playing ball there. Then, of course, going to Duke University, where from one place to another, you've been just experiencing really great championships. After Duke, of course, traveling and then persevering and getting through the NBA. Everywhere you've been a winner. And I think what happens in this conversation is that, you know, these are the dreams that many have, and they look at someone as yourself and perhaps think that it just came easy. But in our conversation tonight, we know that there's been perseverance as well, that you've had to endure some things and get through some things. And faith and family has played a great role probably in where you are in your life. And so can you talk to me a little bit about how faith and family has really played a role in who you are as an NBA player and being the man that you are?
Yeah, well, faith and family, they're the two biggest components for me. I think me just growing up, me being blessed to be born into my family was one thing, but we are a God-fearing family. You know, we went to church. You know, I don't want to say every Sunday, but we went, you know, often, to where church was a thing that we all look forward to. You know, every Sunday, maybe every other Sunday. You know, just growing up in Christian schools, Holy Trinity and St. Jerome's, and obviously Dematha. You know, you getting that you know, tutelage at a young age. But not just school, but just from my parents and my sister and all my family, aunts, cousins, everybody. Faith was the biggest thing. Just having faith in anything. You have to have faith in, you know, your preparation. You have to have faith in your family. You have to have faith in, you know, your profession. Just everything, you know, that you use in life. You know, it went back to faith. And for me, I've been through a lot. I've been through, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly, but my faith has gotten me through that. And the stuff that I've learned from my family growing up, just about being strong, just about, you know, dealing with trials and tribulations, it always resorts back to my faith. I can just remember just things about basketball. Anytime I went through anything in basketball, you know, I wouldn't say it was easy, but you know, I've been through real life situations, real life trials and tribulations, to where anything I went through in basketball, it was minor compared to the stuff that I've overcame in real life. And that all, you know, goes back to my faith, to where, you know, just believing, you know, you'll get through it. You know, God puts us through things that, you know, he puts us through things that we can handle. And, you know, it's just a test of how strong your faith is. When everything is going great, it's easy to have faith and be happy and be positive. But, you know, the true testament of character and faith is how much, you know, you believe in him and in things when, you know, stuff isn't going your way.
You know, I'm really grateful to hear you explain it and to put things in that manner, because there are probably so many that need to hear that. As I said, you're in a position now in life where many, of course, see your position, they see what you've been able to achieve, and they may miss that there have been some moments, as you have clearly articulated, of trials, tribulations, and hardships, and how you've been able to press your way through that and see that, see those through the moments. And so having a foundation of faith has been, of course, foundational for you to help you be where you are today. And so really appreciate that. You know, as you were speaking of the schools and the faith as well, and the environments there, the atmospheres, when you were young, and even trying to navigate your way with the peer pressures and all that's there, would you say that faith had a lot to do with helping to keep you focused, perhaps, or those kind of atmospheres? What kind of role was faith when you were young?
It played a big role for me, especially in 2008 after I lost my father. At 14 years old, and that's a very vulnerable and sensitive age. You know, you're in high school. You're kind of, you know, finding yourself. You're starting to think about, you know, seriously what you want to do in your future, and you know, just everything's thrown at you. And for me, like a lot of people don't know, like after that, like my mom, she did a great job of but like being my mom and my dad, but also, you know, dealing with her personal problems, dealing with her grief and her losing her husband. So I remember, like, just for me, like I told my mom and sister, like I told my mom, like, don't worry about me, like I'm good. Like, I'm good. Focus on my sister, because she's I mean, I'm the baby of the family, but like she's the baby. Like she's the one that we all make sure everything is okay with. She's like the boss. She kind of runs everything. So she was a senior in high school, so she was about to go to prom and graduation, and that was a very tough thing for her. So I just remember telling my mom, like, look, I'm gonna be good. You know, I'm gonna be good. I gotta take care of y'all. Like, I wanted to be the man of the house. But at the same time, you know, I was kind of figuring myself out, and, you know, dabbling with crowds and places and stuff where, you know, maybe, you know, I shouldn't have been doing. And I know if my dad, you know, was still alive, I know I wouldn't even dare to do some of the things that I was thinking about doing and stuff like that. And it's just to share that there's a lot of temptation in this world, especially in PG County, where we're from, especially for a young African-American male in PG. There's a lot of temptations, but like I said, I had faith in, you know, just what am I doing? Like what am I doing? I didn't work this hard for 14 years just to give it all up right now. And I had goals. Me and my dad had goals, so I had faith in those goals. And then, you know, my friends and family and my coaches had faith in me. You know, they didn't want to let me go down the wrong path, so they made sure, you know, I was attended to always, even though, you know, I tried to not act tough, but I always, like, I became the man of the house, so I wanted to act accordingly. And, you know, sometimes, you know, as men, you know, men are afraid to cry. Men are afraid to show their emotions because it seems like a very, you know, vulnerable place to be in. But, you know, those were the best times for me where, you know, I could just let myself go, and I had somebody to vent to and cry on. And my mom and my sister, you know, even though I told them they were okay, like, I'll be okay, they still always made sure that, you know, I was always, you know, look out for, like, just emotionally. And, you know, it just goes back to just my family, how strong they are.
You know, as we get a chance to hear you, of course, on this evening, and again, just so grateful for your sharing for many, as you're always, of course, as a professional athlete in the spotlight, and people perhaps see part of your life, but they don't get a chance to really reflect upon all of the challenges that you go through and how you find your strength in this. You know, one of the great things that you have been part of just even recently is that, many, of course, might be aware, some on this line may be finding out for the first time. You're an executive producer of a great Showtime documentary about In the Water, and that movie of Prince George's County basketball players and all that they had to deal with. Can you talk a little bit about, what made you want to tell the story, not just of the experience, but there's pieces in there for those that have seen it where you talk about some of the challenges and how you face those even in the moment, because you say about not quitting. You found your faith and held on to your faith while you were having all of these different experiences. So can you talk about that a little bit? What made you look at that and some of the moments in that movie that were important to you?
Like I said earlier, just going back to my career, anything that I went through in basketball, me getting cut, me playing on 10-day contracts, non-guaranteed contracts, that was always motivation, but it was still just me having faith in myself to, take that risk and live out a suitcase. Like my mom would tell you, I lived out a suitcase for 3 years straight, just not knowing what I would do. And I had, a lot of money guaranteed for me if I went overseas as soon as I got out of college. Like, I was being All-American at Duke and winning a championship at Duke. Me not having that direct success straight to the NBA. I had so much money to make over there, but I played basketball to have fun. I grew up with a Michael Jordan jersey on every day, a Kobe Bryant jersey every day, LeBron jersey every single day, Iverson. Like, that was my dream. And obviously, coming from where we come from, there's so many obstacles you have to go through. You got to play AAU, you got to play high school, you got to play college. And, if you do everything the right way, maybe you can have a shot at the league. But in my mind, like, I used to collect cards. I could tell you every college, every NBA player went to. My whole room, like I had my whole room, it was just decked out with magazine covers, and the NBA was everything for me. So at that time where I didn't have direct success to it, and I'm getting offered so much money overseas, I'm like, I'm not doing it for the money, or am I doing it for the dream and for the love? Like, I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. Not to say that, it's a bad thing, because there's so many guys who's making the great livings playing overseas. But for me, that's not why I woke up every morning, earlier than my friends and stayed late night. When my friends would go home, I stayed in the gym and sacrificed to not make it to the NBA. So I went the tough route. I went the route that, was the toughest. And to answer your question, my faith was always tested in those moments. Am I good enough? Will I ever get opportunity? Did I make the right decision? Stuff like that. But as long as I can look myself in the mirror every night and know I'm giving myself and giving myself and giving my profession, my craft, and my family 110%, I was happy with that. So the stuff in the movie, to where, people were talking about me, being a underdog story and stuff like that. It's great. My biggest thing, my biggest compliment that I get, obviously, I've been good since I was a young boy. I've always been really good at basketball. I always worked at it. I've always gotten better. And I've been at the national stage for a while, since high school. So, I've played in front of millions and millions of people. And a lot of people will tell me, Quinn, I'm a big fan of your game. Love your game. You're really good at basketball. But my biggest compliment is, when parents come to me and tell me they've used my story to motivate their kids not to quit, or CEOs of jobs, use my college speech, as just an example of not quitting. That's my biggest compliment. And for me, it's like I could have had I see guys a lot have a different mindset. It's like, I was an All-American in high school. I was an All-American in college. I was the man here. I was the man there. I could have went to the D League and just been like, I'm way better than this. Like, I'm better than this league. I don't know why I'm down here. I'm blaming my agent. I'm blaming my coach. I'm blaming this person. But I went down there with the mindset like, I'm here for a reason. And it's crazy how everything turned out. We can get into that as the conversation goes, but like literally, like God literally put me in the D League for a reason. Like he literally put me there for many reasons. I strongly believe, and it all worked out in the end with timing and everything. But I used me not catching my goal right away as motivation to work on myself, and it tested my faith, and I know I passed the test.
Again, hearing you speak about how you looked at life and these circumstances of life. As I said, many see you in the limelight and think that just everything just comes to you when you're an NBA athlete. And so hearing you speak about your perseverance and how you continue to press, as in this point of life, even as you're now, of course, playing with the Lakers, the West Coast, you have championship rings, really, college and professional, all that you have going on. How do you, as an NBA player now, keep yourself grounded for success in life? And how do you really shape that for yourself?
I keep myself grounded by just, this all can be taken. The money doesn't last forever. You can't play basketball in the NBA forever. You can't, use your success and use your fame, and just like feel like you're better than people. To me, I stay grounded easily. My family keeps me grounded, in a good way though. In a good way, they build me up, but they also, when I come home, it's not just we're talking about basketball, or they're not just hitting me up to ask me about LeBron or ask me about this guy. They're not just, how are you doing? How are you sleeping? How are you eating? What shows you watching? Just kind of get me, out of that routine. I mean, and out of that mindset of just focus on basketball. Because like before this past year, my last year in Golden State, that's all I did. I eat, I sleep, and breathe basketball. And just mentally, I don't think that was healthy just for me. And just talking to my vets and talking to guys who've played in the league and who aren't in the league anymore, just talking to those resources, I had to change. And my family does a great job of that. They treat me the same way. And another thing is, it's like, when I was in the D League, like my family, like I saw people change around me, like my friends, well, my quote unquote friends, acquaintances, people that, I talk to on a regular basis. I saw a lot of people change. But my family, like literally, like my Uncle Marcel, my dad's best friend growing up, he's probably watched every game that I've ever played in. Since, I mean, obviously, like, probably missed AAU games and stuff like that, but I would say since college, there hasn't been a game that he's missed. And that's from Duke to the D League to now with the Lakers. So I say that to say, my family, they never they didn't care if I never played in the NBA. They were still, and that sounds cliche, but like how they treated me when I'm up and how they treat me when I'm down, it's the same. And that right there is what keeps me grounded.
It is good, to know that, and for others to hear that. As you're looking at relationships, I can only imagine that most persons, of course, where you are, want something from you. And so, you're managing your relationships and your life at this point with everything going on. It's wonderful to hear, I think, for many, how you're managing through that moment. And moments that we're looking at now. Even in life, as we look around, we have, as you say, you are a young African-American male, successful, yet we know that many see you just as an NBA player. There's real life out here as well. And so we see some of the challenges of being young African-American male, or how that might be affecting, of course, with things that we've seen in Minneapolis and we've seen with some of the other events. How do you deal with those moments personally, or your thoughts, especially from your generation? You're an athlete, but faith plays a role in your life. Can you talk about that for many today? Because that's probably personal for you as well.
Yeah, I think you know, it hits everybody. Like when you see things like an incident in Minneapolis with George Floyd, or what's happened in Georgia. I mean, it's been continuing, you know, over decades. But what makes it so different for my generation is like it's on camera. It's on camera and it's posted on social media right away, and it's like become the norm. So that's scary. That's scary, and obviously it's been stuff like this going on forever, but now it's like there's so many. I mean, obviously, like there's things that I've never heard about. There's incidents that we've never heard because there's never no footage, and maybe it's never gotten to the national standpoint. But now it's like this happens at 1:00 and it's posted on Twitter at 1:15, and you know what I'm saying, it just goes viral by 1:30, and it's just like become the norm, and it's scary, and not just for just African Americans. It's scary for all of us, and I don't know. I don't know. Like it hits home for all of us because it could be, you know, your dad, your uncle, your mom, your sister, your aunt, your best friend, your brother. Like nobody is immune. Like nobody is too big or too small for it to happen. So that's why you just gotta just I don't know. It's kind of tough to talk about. It's kind of tough. It's tough.
It is. We hold our faith in those moments, and you know, being able for you just to express of how it does affect you, even at this point, I think is helpful. That we never become numb to what's going on, but we find our faith, especially in these challenges and all that we're dealing with. So it is helpful to hear you express your feelings and even your thoughts about that. You know, as we all make decisions, and let me just ask for a moment, you know, there's so many out there, and we've been getting questions in different areas. When you were really making that transition from high school to college, you had so many offers, and I know you were reflecting upon them, family praying about that. How did you really make that decision for you?
It was tough. It was tough. I think, like my mom always says, it takes a village. You know, so my mom, she, you know, she, for growing up, I mean, if I had practice, my dad would take me to practice, and if my sister had a dance recital, my mom would take it to the dance recital. Like that's how it was. And obviously, my mom knows about basketball, but you know, she's not like, she doesn't know about everything that goes on and stuff. So obviously when my dad passed, she had to, you know, be my mom and my dad. So, you know, her, she wants to know about every college. She did her research, she did everything. So I'll never forget when it started to get like crunch time with my decision. Obviously I'm getting recruited by every school in America, which was a fun process for me because I always dreamed of that. But so I remember coming home, she had like two of my coaches there, my AU coach, my high school coach. She had one of my our family friends, Scoop, Kyle Yadell. He's like a basketball guru. I want to say, you know, my godfather, Uncle Marcel, was there. He flew in from Indiana. It was like 5 or 6, you know, men. It was 5 or 6 men there. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, what's everybody doing? And my mom basically was like assigned a school to a person, and that was their job, was to, you know, do as much research of the situation as possible in that certain university to for us to make the right decision. And in my head, like I always wanted to go to Duke. Like I was kind of just entertaining schools just to like go through it, go on my visits, get the love, but always in my head, like I wanted to go to Duke. But I just want to experience that time. So I go out to LA for it was Elite 24, Elite 24 game, the best 24 players in high school fly out to this game, put on my Under Armour. It's an incredible event. You get to tour LA. You get to be with your guys who you hoop with on the circuit, and you play a game on ESPN. And so it was a Saturday, and I had to start boarding school at Oak Hill on that Monday. So I fly out there, and my mom, on the day of the game, Saturday, she flies to Charlotte, and she drives 2 hours to go to Oak Hill, because Oak Hill is like in the mouth of woods of Virginia, a small like pocket in Virginia. So she goes there, she packs my room, she gets everything, right, because I couldn't do it. So she does that, and she drives back to Charlotte to watch my game on ESPN. So game's going well, whatever. It's an all-star game, a tremendous stage to be on as a 17-year-old. And the last 10 seconds of the game, I get hurt. I tear my meniscus. So she's on the first plane to LA. And so after that, like I went from obviously being a top 10 player to we thought I might have been out, all season. So I could see certain colleges kind of, bag back just a little bit. And there was two schools. One, obviously, is Duke, and I'm not going to say the other name of the other university, but that got more aggressive, like with me, like in a time where I really needed them. And like I said, I was really wanting to make the best decision to go to college, but I always, like deep down in my heart, like if I had to make a decision on any day, or if an emergency happened to where, I had to pick the school, it was always Duke. And that happened. And, I couldn't take as many visits as I wanted to because I couldn't fly. But my first visit I took was UCLA, and then I went to Duke the next weekend. And it was all she wrote after that. I mean, my god brother, Nolan Smith, he went to Duke, so I just wanted to go to Duke. I wanted to do everything like him. So it was an easy decision for me because me and Coach K, we were the closest out of all the coaches that were recruiting me. So, it made it an easy decision for me.
I think, Quinn, and I'm grateful for how you have shared in that experience. What do you think were the values that were really important to you when you talk about both your decision for Duke, Coach K, that you're looking at that, and even in your family? And, for, as you say, for real transparency for some of our viewers, that they really know, I've been able to cheer for you all of your life and watch this. So it is wonderful to hear this. But what were the values that you believe were important to you and your family in making that decision?
Well, for me, I made my decision in a I want to say a uncomfortable spot. I was in a place where I was thinking, life after basketball when I was making my decision, because I wasn't playing. I was hurt. I wasn't able to play. So I was thinking, 30 years from now. And all the schools, like it came down to Duke, UCLA, UConn, North Carolina, Kansas, and Georgetown, I believe. And all those schools are great schools, tremendous schools. Like if my kids can have a chance to go to any one of those schools, I'd be ecstatic. But at the same time, I just thought it made sense for me. I already had relationships there. I already had, mentor people who I call my mentors already, who were Duke alums, just being around Nolan the entire time. I thought it was close enough to home to where my mom just can't pull up on me. My sister can't just pull up on me, but they can just drive up and pull up on me. So she can come to every game. My mom used to take the bus down there, so she could write her book, read her book, and she'll watch the game, give me a kiss, and then I'll drop her right back off at the bus stop. And it was great. It was great. It was easy. Like breaks, I could just drive right home. I thought that was great. And I just thought the synergy between myself and the coaching staff and just everybody that's a part of the of Duke and a part of the basketball program was just something that was already there. So that's what made my decision a lot easier. And a few components went into it, but at the same time, I was thinking, not about Quinn Cook 18 to 22 who's going to be there at the time, but I was thinking Quinn Cook at 32 and 38, like, if I go there, if I make these relationships, if I do this and that, when I'm 32 and 38, life would be so much easier. And I thought I already had many of those relationships, so I wanted to keep building on that.
Certainly, as there's so much that we could cover, and I want to make sure, because we're going to be preparing for a little while to answer some of the many questions that have come in from many of our viewers, and they've been sending those questions in. But as our program director is popping up even now to come in, let me ask one more question of you, because I want to make sure many know that you're even an author right now, that you have just put out, of course, the cookbook for children. Talk to us a little bit about that and what made you, with your faith as well, see others. You're giving back with your camp, you're an author, you're doing all these things in the community. Speak for just a moment about that and we'll get our questions.
Yeah, the cookbook, it's my book that's coming out. Cook, obviously, it's an easy name to kind of flip and do creative stuff. It's called the cookbook. It's my 10 recipes to success. I'm giving you 10 words that I used growing up, and I still use to today. That helps me, stay motivated. That's helped me catch my dreams and just be a good person. Growing up, like my mom, she used to read. She bought me this book called Salt in His Shoes. It's a fiction book on Michael Jordan, and obviously we all know the story. He got cut from his varsity team as a sophomore, and basically the book is just like, he gets cut, and the main thing was that he was too small. So his mom just encouraged him. So I think she just made up like a fake ritual or a fake story that was just like, I've read that if you put salt in your shoes, if I put salt in your shoes, Mike, you'll grow. So she started putting salt in his shoes. So he just fell in love with her putting salt in his shoes because he wanted to grow so bad. And obviously he ended up growing and, he turned into Michael Jordan. But that's something I always read growing up. Like, and when I came home from college or Oak Hill boarding school, I would always have some time I would read that book. So it was something I always wanted to do. And after college, myself and Nolan Smith, we always wanted to make a children's book because we always had a big following. Like we were doing church speeches together. We were doing public speaking things together. And he was fresh out the NBA. He was kind of transitioning into what he wanted to do next because he had two knee injuries. And I was transitioning to being a pro. So I was just like, let's do it. But we never had time to because we were figuring too much stuff out. But when I got to LA, man, my manager, Norman Pope, and my, like I said, I'm always focused on basketball, laser focused, but I've had to get out of that and start keeping my mind, occupied, with other things. And I was presented the idea by my guy, Jack McClendon, and my manager, Norman Pope. And then they brought it to me and we ran with it. And coming out August 24th, 8/24. And, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, quite excited. Like you said, I love the name. We're going to bring our program director back in, Michelle Dibley, who grateful, who helps us to stay on track and coordinate all of this. And we've got such wonderful questions. As I said, you stirred up so much in our crowd. So Michelle, won't you post us what we have.
Sure. Well, we not only have a number of questions that segue right from talking about a children's book to how you engage with young people, we also have two young men who have questions for you. So I'm hopeful that Margaret is ready to bring a young man named Quinn and Brett onto the screen here. So there's Brett, and there they are. I'm gonna make my video go away because that's a lot of faces on the screen. If the two of you want to introduce yourselves, so Brett, why don't you go first, and then Quinn, you go next. So introduce yourself and then ask your questions. We'll let both of you go, and then we'll let the four of you have some conversation. So I'm gonna go away, and Brett, I'm turning it over to you.
Hi, I'm Brett. Thank you for allowing me to ask a couple questions. First, I would like to say that I'm a point guard, and I want to play at the highest level possible. So knowing what you know now, what would you tell your 13-year-old self?
Whew, that's a great question. That's a great question. I would tell my 13-year-old self to keep having fun. Keep having fun. I know it sounds cliche, but I know you play basketball. You started to play basketball because it's fun. For me, growing up, I could go through anything. If I, had a rough day at school, if my sister was being mean to me at home, or anything that was going. If my Lakers lost, I could just go play basketball and get away for a second, and that was the most fun I would have. If I'm playing for an hour, that's the most fun hour that I would have throughout the day. And I know it's fun for you. So my thing is, as you get older, you start to realize that, it becomes more than a game. It becomes a business. But you still got to remind yourself, why you. I think just keep having fun, keep enjoying yourself, and run your own race, and don't tell anybody you can't do it.
Thank you.
Yep. Great question.
Well, can I ask another question?
Let's let Quinn jump in here,
Okay.
and then maybe y'all can go back and forth a little bit.
Hi, Mr. Cook. My name is Quinn, and I have a couple questions for you. Okay. I was also a chorister at the National Cathedral.
Wow.
How tall were you when you were in 7th grade?
In 7th grade, I maybe was 5'6", 5'7", maybe 5'6", 5'7". That's what I'm guessing. I was small.
And when you were in 7th grade, how did you stay focused on your goals?
How did I stay focused on my goals in the 7th grade? Really just watching the NBA and just being a super fan of all my favorite players, and just hearing, their interviews and seeing, how they acted at that time. And, I had great friends around me who were pushing for the same thing. So literally, like in 7th grade, 6th grade, we used to always hold each other accountable. One of my best friends in the world, Victor Oladipo, we went to elementary school, middle school, and high school together. And literally, like, we used to compete so much. If he got to the gym 30 minutes before practice and he made 100 shots, I had to stay after and make 110 shots. If at nighttime, if we watching NBA basketball, if I do 100 push-ups, he has to do 105 push-ups. That's just how we work. And we always push each other, but we held each other accountable. That started young. That started in the 6th, 7th grade. So first, finding friends who will hold you accountable, friends who believe in themselves as much as they do yourself, and guys that will push you, to reach your potential and reach your greatness.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Brett, let's take one more from you, and then we're gonna roll into some other folks.
My last question is, how has being from this area shaped you as a person and a basketball player?
Ooh, great question. Being from this area the area has made me who I am today. It's taught me so much, just appreciating things, being respectful, showing respect. being tough, on and off the floor, holding your ground, just having that belief in yourself, having that chip on your shoulder. And I think the most unique thing is that we all root for each other. I think the biggest thing that I took from, just doing research on PG County and in the area for our documentary, the biggest thing that I wanted to stress, and I still stress to people, is I think what makes our place so unique is that obviously we have a lot of talent. Obviously, it's small, but literally we are all close. We're all brothers. We're all family. We all root for each other. And if anybody says something crazy, on social media or in person about any of us, we always defend each other. And for me, like growing up, how like you always feel like the young guy has to always reach out to the older guy to ask for advice. The older guys was coming back and reaching out to us to give us advice. And I think that was the biggest thing that helped, my generation, and even the generation before me, all the guys that would come back and give back game and give back tutelage to the younger guys. That was the best thing. So the area has shaped all of us to become who we are.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So,
These young men.
yeah, I want to give them a round of applause. We're so grateful to both of you for stepping up to the plate here. That's the wrong metaphor. I'm a baseball kid, not a basketball kid. So, but I do. I'm so proud of these two young men and all of their peers who are really pursuing their dreams and stepping up and making sure they get those opportunities. We've got another couple of questions that are about your work with young people, and in particular, a couple of folks who are working with young folks who have a lot of challenges. They're in alternative school programs. They're trying to figure out how to continue to work as hard as they can to fulfill their dreams, get into the NBA. And one of the folks is wondering what you might say to those young people who also might need to consider what they would do if that doesn't happen for them, right? So how do you talk with young people about pursuing your dreams and also help them think about the many, many ways in which they might grow up to be fantastic humans?
Right. My biggest thing, I know for me, obviously, I do a lot of basketball stuff. I have this amazing camp that my fundraiser puts on. My mom, one of my other close friends, Robert Pettis, and my manager, Norman, those three, they do a tremendous job with my camp. And the biggest thing I always stress to them is, use basketball. Basketball can get you a free education. Basketball can have you travel around the world. Basketball will bring friendships to you, bonds that last forever. And you can use so much with basketball. I never thought that I could produce a movie or be an author of a book. I saw my mom be an author of a book growing up. I never thought that I could do that. But, with the game of basketball, the resources, the people, the networking that I've done, I've been able to do that. And that's just not for basketball players. I think, people who want to be astronauts, people who want to be firefighters or anything, use whatever situation you are in now, the school you are in, the friends you have, use that in a positive to get yourself to that next level. Because obviously, everybody's not going to make the NBA. Everybody's not going to make the WNBA. But at the same time, the stuff that I learned in sports, I use on a day-to-day basis in life with my friends, with my, neighbors, anybody. So that's what I say to people who, who may not, make their plan A, have different sources of ideas and different sources of, meaning to keep going. And that's not to say that, not just because a lot of people say, I don't have no plan B because I'm only focused on plan A. Yeah, that's cool. But like I said earlier, like you'll go crazy just thinking about one particular thing. Like my life was basketball. And if I had a bad game, I'm not sleeping. I'm not talking to nobody. Nobody can call me nothing. But at the same time, it's like, that's not realistic. Basketball, you're going to have some bad games and you're going to have some great ones. So you got to take the good with the bad. And you know, my life has been a lot happier since I've started diving into other things. But like, I'm trying to give kids, you know, some advice, but I got to give myself advice. I'm still going through the same struggles and stuff like that. So I'm always seeking advice for that as well.
One of the questions actually is related to who you look up to, right? Who inspires you? Who are the people that you're trying to model your life after or learn from?
I mean, obviously my family inspires me the most. They motivate me the most. I just try to be good people, just like they are, just good to everybody. Particularly just like players, just like anybody who's, you know, known as a great player, but more as a better teammate, as a better person. I want to have respect, you know, from everybody, to the players, the refs, front office, owners, coaching staff. Like, I want to have that respect and rapport from everybody, and I want to just be known, obviously not just a winner, but just a guy who knows is a great teammate, a great guy who always, you know, had a smile on his face. And that's how my dad was. My dad, like, only time he was mad is when the Lakers lost. Other than that, he was always smiling, always joking and stuff. So that's kind of, you know, definitely rubbed off on me. And my mom and my sister, they're just like the life of the party. They're outgoing. They'll talk to anybody, and I have that as well. So yeah, I just look up to you know, a lot of people, you know, in the NBA, a lot of people in different, you know, avenues who just always, you know, have a smile on their face.
That's an amazing quality to look for, because not everybody has it, for sure. So sounds like you got lucky to inherit that from your dad too. I can see that in you. It's like 30 minutes here. So one of the questions that a bunch of people wanted us to ask you was about whether there are particular scriptures that are important to you, things that you hold on to when things get a little challenging, or to keep you inspired. So we gave people the opportunity to vote on a bunch of questions, and so this is one of the ones that rose up to the top here. If there's something that you've got for us there.
I wouldn't say there's a particular scripture.
Mm-hmm.
There's not like a particular Bible verse or anything like that. Growing up, I mean, I would switch. You know, I would have, if I went to Sunday school or anything, I have a new scripture a day. But you know, I have a daily devotional that I use now, and a nightly devotional, and literally it speaks to me every single day. Like, it's amazing how it works. It's amazing how just the world works. Literally, like like it's May 27th, and whatever it was on the paper, it's something I've experienced that day. But like to answer a question, to get more specific, I would just say, man, don't take anything for granted. Like, don't take anything for granted. You have to stay humble with all this stuff, good, the bad. Like I always say, God doesn't put us anything that we're not built for, that we can't get through. And you know, time and time again, that's been the occasion for me in my life. And instead of pouting, instead of feeling bad for myself, I always use different challenges to motivate me. And I always go back to that. God tested me. He's put me through something that he know I'm gonna get through. He know I'm gonna kill this. He know I'm gonna get through this with a smile on my face. And I always go back to that. So yeah, I just always remember that. Just, you know, anything that we go through, we'll get through it.
Awesome. So I'm going to close partly by letting you know that there are a lot of Duke fans here who are chatting up in the chat. So one of them's asking you where your swag is. So I just want to throw that in there because it seemed important. So I think that I'm going to throw one more question out here, and then I'm going to go away, let you answer that question, and you and Canon Hamlin can. The question that I wanted to close with here, it just follows on you doing a daily devotional, and I'm wondering if there are other things that you do or practices that you have to help you stay strong in your faith, that you do daily, weekly. What are the things that that are active for you that help you move through that?
Yeah, it's a lot. Well, I have great relationships with my pastor. My pastor, Keith Battle. I have an amazing relationship with him. I talk to him, all the time. He helps me, just stay on course and stay focused. And we have a relationship where I can be as completely honest with him. And he doesn't make me feel bad of, should I be asking this or should I be feeling like this? And he's been somebody who's been there for my family, for so long. And my chaplain here for the Lakers, Ramel Witherspoon, he's become my mentor. He helps me on a daily basis on just, figuring out certain things and keeping, my head straight. And he asks me questions. Like it's not just me going to him. He comes to me and we have a great rapport. So those two people I talk to on a daily basis. Like I said, I have my daily and nightly devotional. I have my Bible app where I read scriptures on there every single night. And I always just stop and pray. Like I always stop and pray every 11:11. I try to say a prayer. Obviously before every meal. And just random times, like I'll just talk to God. Like I'll just try to talk to God. Cause I never really did that growing up. I just started praying when you woke up, praying before you ate, and praying when you went to sleep. That was good enough. And not saying it's not good enough, but there's so many times. Cause like when you're in school growing up, you got this period, you got that period, you got study hall. After that, you got to go do this and that. You're always in the mood. But now with me, I go to practice for 2 hours and I have 22 hours for the rest of my day. So I'll just catch myself random times, just praying, talking to God, and just I see my life get better and see my life, change and things are more clear now ever since, I've just taken time to really dedicate, if it's 30 seconds or dedicate, 20 minutes just to talk to God and talk to, my faith. And, I do that all the time. Like if you see me playing basketball, I'm always pounding my chest and pointing to the sky because I'm talking to my dad and I'm talking to God. Just thankful I'm playing the game of basketball. Like during this pandemic, we kind of, take for granted things. We took things for granted, I should say. But now, like we appreciate certain things now, because it was taken away from us. So I used to always do that, and I still would do that. Like anytime I get in the game, I'm pounding my chest and point to the sky because I'm just so thankful, to be living out my dream.
Amazing. Well, I'm going to step away and let the two of you wrap up, but it's been great to have the chance to talk to you. And glad you're here. So Leonard, all you.
Thank you. Quinn, let me say, as we're bringing this to a close on the evening, first, we can't thank you enough, and personally, how grateful I am, because one person, as they bring it up, looking for all this swag, one of the real great witnesses that you have is your character, who you are. And so I'm grateful that you would take the time to really share that with others, allow us the opportunity for you to be able to share that as well. As you can see, there were even those younger generation who are lining up just to hear a few words, to be encouraged about life and how you see all of this together. This is a wonderful moment, as you can probably only imagine right now some of the feelings and emotions that I may be having for this and seeing life in certain ways. But we're thankful to you. I certainly want to say thank you as well. We've got a few people who are working behind the scenes here. So I really do have to thank really Margaret Rawls and Caitlin Toner, as well as Hannah, who are working. They're often managing all these cameras, lining everything up, handling the questions in the background. I want to say thank you to them and my colleagues. But as we prepare to go, let me ask you, is there anything that you would want to share with everyone that they would hold on to in a time like this, or they may never get a chance to run into you, but as you said, take the highs with the lows? Is there anything that you would want to share with them just in this moment that's personal to you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll speak to the guys like the youngins like Brett and Quinn and all the kids on here, and even to the parents. It doesn't happen overnight. it doesn't happen overnight. You have to believe, to believe in something is powerful. To believe in something is strong. And a lot of people will tell you you can't do it. If you want to be an author, if you want to be a musician, if you want to make the NBA, if you want to be a doctor, a lot of people will tell you you can't do it. But you have to have the faith in yourself. I mean, your family is going to have faith in you regardless. Your friends, you're going to believe in you regardless. But you have to have the faith. You have to do it. And the best thing that my mom, well, I ain't gonna say the best thing, but one of the best things she's ever done, I'll never forget, I was young. She told me, what do you want to be? Like, she used to ask me all the time, what do you want to be? Write it down, like put it on your wall so you see it every day. And it's something to where, like, you waking up and you seeing NBA player on your door every day. Like, that's the norm. Like, you seeing it. So something you have to do every single day to get to that. And like I said, it doesn't happen overnight, because like a lot of people, you can be dedicated to something for 2 weeks, 3 weeks and think it's gonna happen. Like, it's a long haul, it's a long process, it's a long dedication to your dream. And for me, like, it came from being at the high. Like, I was at the peak of basketball. I thought everything I dreamed of was going to go, like, I was going to have just the perfect life. And God has always tested me and tested my family and tested our strength. And we've always persevered because, God gave us that strength. And like I said, God used to put me, well, not used to, he still does. He puts me in situations to where, my faith is tested. But I always, like, those are the best times for me. Those are the times where I'm smiling the most. Those are the times where I'm enjoying the most, because I look back on my mental state in certain areas and I'll just laugh, like, man, like, I was tough, but we got through it. So yeah, it's just you gotta believe, man. Like, I'm 6'1". I'm not the most athletic, I'm not the biggest, I'm not the fastest, I'm not the strongest. But I made it. And I did that because I worked the hardest, I studied the hardest. Nobody was gonna know more about the game than me, nobody was gonna work harder than me. And I appreciate it. If I played against one of my favorite players growing up, I tell them, man, I appreciate you motivating me. I appreciate you. And that did something to them to where they will always give me game and they will always build me up. And it didn't happen overnight. People think because I went to Dematha, Oak Hill, Duke, that I was privileged in a basketball way and everything was supposed to be, handed to me. But, I worked my butt off on and off the floor to put myself in a position today. And it started with faith and it started with belief, for sure.
Well, Quinn, I can't thank you enough. We're praying for you. You know that we're looking for all the blessings and continued success in all that you do. And so for everyone who has joined us tonight, we say thank you for joining us on this evening with Honest to God with Quinn Cook. And as I close, Quinn, this one's for you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Too. Thank you so much.